Tom, last time we sat down to record, I just poetically blasted you about how good Kagurabachi is. And you actually started reading it. You've read the first 2 volumes, and I too have reread the first 2 volumes of the series.
And we're calling we read that much because it's and I'm trusting you. That's the first arc.
Yes.
So we're gonna start doing arc reviews of certain series, and you were just so hyped on this one.
I love this series so much that we had to
catch up with you.
We had to do it, so and it's perfect too because again, it's only 2 volumes. It's not like we're starting and the first arc is some 50 chapter, massive thing. So in case you didn't watch our first video talking about Kagurabachi, to catch you up to speed, Kagurabachi is a series. It's written and drawn by Takeru Hokuzono, who's he's 24 years old, Tom, currently. He was 23 when the series started serialization in September of 2024. We're currently 108, soon to be 109 chapters into the series at the time of recording this. And it is an action battle series about Chihiro Rokuhira, whose father, Kunishigi Rokuhira, is mysteriously murdered by an elite group of sorcerers, and his 6 incredible magic enchanted blades that he blacksmithed to basically end a very violent war 15 years prior to the events of the series, are stolen. So he's got to take the secret 7th blade and get the swords back and protect his father's legacy. That's essentially the pitch for the story and how it starts. Of course, there's a lot more to that goes into that. But Tom, I just
importantly, we're only going to be covering the first
we are only covering the first 18 chapters, or if you are reading the Tankobons, the first 2 volumes. So if you have only read the first 2 volumes, you're good, and we're not going to spoil anything else. So but other than that, we're going to just go full ass blast spoilers on this for the first 2 volumes. For the first 2 volumes. So Tom, last time we talked about this, you can clearly tell by how I'm talking about the series now. I love this. I love the Kagurabachi. I want to hear about you. I want to hear about your first impressions, what you thought when you first started reading the first couple chapters. And you'll go off.
So again, your impassioned speech definitely got me excited. And I think there's 108 now. You said the chapter 108 current. So we want to keep doing these.
Oh yes,
these arc reviews for this series. Now, I was surprised by 2 things. One, I think I even asked this to you because I could tell it was become mixed. There was some mixed part of this. It was like, is this modern day or is old time samurai? It's like modernish day.
Yes,
but there's no guns. It's just swords.
Exactly. You basically nailed it. So the Hokuzono in interviews has basically said the world of his story does take place in Japan, but it is a very from his perspective, what Americans how Americans and how the West and other countries kind of view Japan. And it's a very stylized version of it. So
Quentin Tarantino.
Exactly. So it is a lot. So basically the Yakuza use samurai swords. There aren't guns. There are phones, but they're flip phone. They're old school, early 2000s flip phones. There are cars.
Yeah. So that was the first thing I was surprised at. 2 was the tone was a lot more lighthearted than I thought it was going to be, especially the dad character. And I'm terrible with names. Apologize to everybody.
Kushige,
the dad character. Yeah. I was expecting something else from the great blacksmith than your kind of aloof jokester, unserious, kind of young looking dad. So that was a little bit of a surprise for me, and I had to adjust to those two facets of the story that I didn't quite expect out of it. Because I guess part of me thought, is this going to be a hyper like intense manga, like a Vagabond or something like that, or is this? But I wasn't expecting like it kind of be really more typical Shonen Jump, kind of lighthearted tone wise. You know, it's very violent, and setting is very modern, series. So I don't dislike those things, but when I first read, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to recalibrate here. I don't know if you had a similar experience or not.
A little bit. And also too, like I'll say this, like, guys, I was here from chapter 1 on this. Like I was already like reading relatively week to week, trying to catch up. So when this series got announced and came out, I just kind of read chapter 1 sight unseen. And it wasn't until, because Tom, I don't know if you know this, a little bit of internet history with this series. Prior to it coming out, it basically had a sort of like Morbius-esque style of like internet fake hype. Like, oh, this is going to be the newest, best goated series. So a lot of people just went in with this expectation. Well, the difference between having to buy a movie ticket and reading something digital on your computer or phone, the cost and time difference is very different. So people actually took that meme shit, actually read it, and were like, oh, this actually is kind of good. And as we've talked about a couple times now on this channel, most manga don't immediately start and they're like this excellent off the rip thing. I do think it does take a little bit of time, and I even think the jump from volume 1 in its quality to volume 2 and its storytelling and artistic quality is like already a considerable jump.
Yeah, so if we want to get into plot stuff
sure.
too, like, so obviously we're kind of set up very classically, father revenge, father murdered, son revenge story, and the protagonist is definitely like a little more unfeeling too than your typical shonen protagonist. He's definitely more straight-laced, tries not to express emotion, straight, like just down the line, I have a goal,
straight
I'm gonna
shooter.
get it. Straight shooter, yeah. So but you meet the friend of the dad, and
Mr. Shiba.
And I think he helps these early chapters give you some kind of like character to hold on to, because the dad's gone pretty quickly, and then Mr. Shiba, and then the main character is kind of, I would say, bland to start out a little bit.
Chihiro,
like, yeah. So Mr. Shiba's there, and he is also a little bit funny and silly, and but also tender in a way to Chihiro that I really appreciated. He also is OP as fuck.
I mean, yeah, we can get to that. Powers. We can get to that, yeah.
And so you feel like there is a bit of a guiding hand with that character. But I would say it really doesn't ramp up until the little girl
Char is introduced.
Yeah. And that mystery, which is pretty quickly into it, propels the story into its first kind of arc of getting the first sword, right?
Yes, the first of the 6 swords, Cloud Gouger, or so we, not to shoot a little bit ahead. In the second arc, it gets referred to a bunch as Kuregumo, which is its Japanese name, and then they decide to go back to calling it Cloud Gouger.
Okay, so Char shows up. You don't really know who this girl is. You're not really sure what she's about. But she's being chased by some dangerous guy, and it's one of these sorcerers. So it's not just that there's Yakuza, they have swords. There's also these sorcerers, which are like a different group. Not every sorcerer has a sword, but every special sword is a sorcerer. Do I have that right?
So basically, you can we'll say in Kagurabachi, there's essentially like 3 power classes. There's like enchanted blade users, which in this arc we have Chihiro, and we have the Cloud Gougers user, Sojo, which is the arc's named after. And then we have sorcerers, which is basically the general other magic power system of Kagurabachi. It's fucking devil fruit stand rules. You get 1 power, everyone gets 1 power, and then spirit energy is just something that flows through everyone, and that allows you to use other basic techniques that we get into down the road, and also just fortify your body so you don't die in a hit. And that's shonen shit. Yeah.
And
then we have others, and then we just have other people who also use swords, and it's not necessarily fully clear in arc 1 just because of the characters involved, but you can get to a very high level in this universe just with like sword play. Sword mastery and in actually being skilled with the sword is very important in Kagurabachi.
Okay.
It's not just like who's got the best spells, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of like mind over matter in the fights in this series, where like if you just think about something from a different perspective or a different strategy, you can then manipulate your powers in a more like efficient way or a better strategic way to get over an obstacle than you may have thought of. It's like it's almost like it almost leans to like too far into you could do literally anything, because it's so flexible. These power systems are very flexible, at least from what I'm seeing so far.
From the outset of the story, it is established that the enchanted blades are extremely overpowered. And it's also established too that the fight with the enchanted blades that we see in the first arc is from two characters who have not been using the swords for really that long. So the innate understanding of the swords is at a low level. So yes, the swords themselves are extremely powerful, and you can basically do almost anything with them in the confines of the specific powers of the swords. But yes, within those confines, you can do almost anything, and they are broken, and they're extremely fucking OP.
They're a rare loot drop for sure. They're ultra rare.
Omega level exotic.
Omega level exotic. Yeah. So we meet Char.
Yes.
This little girl running from one of these sorcerers. And because Char is like this special bloodline race.
So her bloodline's sorcery. So sorceries can work a couple different ways. They can be passed on, like your bloodline can have a sorcery. Which we'll see. We'll meet a couple of characters who have like a bloodline sorcery. You can also just get it it just can innately come to you a few years after your birth, but it's something that's innate to you. Sorcery is 80% innate. It's very Jujutsu Kaisen in that sense. But you can train it a little bit and hone it to do stuff. Mm-hmm. But Char's clan, basically their ability is when they take basically was it Wolverine like fast regen?
It's like, yeah, they just like you rip off her leg, it regrows.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
It is incredibly painful, the process. It looks like an insanely torturous process, but it does seem kind of infinite almost. Like she doesn't run out of that power.
No, it's her innate sorcery, and
it's just innate biology of her. Yeah,
and it's established that basically 10 years prior to the events of the story, her clan is wiped out based on a rumor that if you eat the flesh of this clan, you actually will be immortal. But that ends up being exactly. So that ends up being bullshit. But a bunch of cannibals go after him and wipe out her whole family except for her and her mom. So
so Chihiro then is like the protector.
Exactly,
kind of one to protect her.
Yeah, gets into this and sort of takes over.
And I would say that then I imagine this is what we call good character development. His purpose gets more interesting. It gets more like complicated in the fact that he is still against these guys, but it's not this purely myopic revenge story. Now you could see him slowly shifting where his purpose is fueled from to protecting Char versus just pure like revenge killing vengeance.
Yeah,
it's not completely. It's still there.
Exactly, but. And also too, Tom, you touch on something that does become like a big theme throughout the story is that it is a sort of revenge tale, but there is a lot of it that's not fueled necessarily by hate or vengeance, but fueled by sort of like justice. Some righteousness and justice.
Yeah.
That makes Chihiro, in my opinion, like a very, very compelling protagonist, especially during like the back half of this arc. Especially.
Yeah, so in this first fight with the sorcerer, which do you know the sorcerer's name?
Yeah, so the sorcerer's name. So here, he's got a whole chapter dedicated to him, which we could talk about.
A backstory.
Exactly, we get a whole backstory. His name is Norisaku Madoka, but he's also known as Daruma, the Daruma sorcerer.
Yeah.
because he spits out little Daruma dolls as his sorcery power.
And then who's the Vine guy?
So the Vine guy is a member of the Hishaku, which is the elite group, the elite villain group.
Okay.
He was in the small 3-man group who took out who killed Chihiro's dad. We do not know his name yet in this part of the story.
Okay.
So
okay,
in the community we called him Hat Shaku for a long time.
Got it. So the Daruma guy is not a sword user. He's just one of these sorcerers.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's tasked to get Char. And one thing I like about the fight with him is like Chihiro sustains injuries.
Yes.
And they do matter to the story. It isn't like Luffy where he just like eats a chicken
and then it's over.
Like,
yeah.
Over. Like the battle damage, the HP bar actually does make a difference in this series. At least a little. I mean, a little more than I
also
expected.
too, and it's like, and that's also and that's including his encounter, the bullshit intro encounter from chapter 1. Also too,
oh, that's right.
It plays into this, and gets him to the state where he's not in fighting shape really at all. Halfway through,
and also he's new to this too. This sword, right? You mentioned, so he's still also learning how to fight.
He's new to swordplay. It's established basically because his dad dies when he's 15. We pick up the series 38 months later, and he's essentially been training with Shiba. And he had some, and also we learn later on. Again, he grew up. His dad was a swordsmith. He had some basic understanding of how to use a sword. It got serious for 38 months, but he is in this part of the storytelling. He is actually being heavy carried by the abilities of the Enchanted Blade, with a lot of these Yakuza and lower level sorcerers that he's been up against. But that basically comes to a head pretty early on when he's up against Sojo, who does have one of the Enchanted Blades, the Cloud Gouger. And they have a great little fucking scuffle in the street. There's a great fucking scene. He's going to shoot a fucking lightning bolt, fucking destroy the whole ass town. And Chihiro uses fucking Nishiki to fucking absorb, or no, excuse me, uses Akka to absorb and suck in the lightning bolt.
Like a lightning rod. I want to hold on Sojo for a second. So we meet Daruma and have that fight, and then I've seen a set of characters I really enjoyed. Just their presence in the world building of this Japan is, I believe we have a limping, and you can correct me wrong. We have like a limping Chihiro. He's got Char, and then a bounty's been put out. To get Char, and all these guys are in this back alley about to kill all these evil sorcerer punks.
Yeah, he's at like an intersection, and there's a sorcerer at each one.
And then the government,
Azami is the name of the character. Yeah,
the government like employee, like agency comes in and saves Chihiro from these punks. And we learn that there's like public defender sorcerers that have their own like unit.
Yeah. So it's called the Kamunabi is the name of the government organization. That basically it's a government organization of sorcerers that came after the big war that has protected the peace of Japan essentially since. And Azami is basically like Shiba, one of his dad's close comrades and friends when they were growing up as kids, in their Shonen brotherhood. They have like a trio, the three of them. So Azami's a part of that trio, and he's super strong.
Yeah, and then he's got his whole unit that they're all sick. So like they're like on the case too. And so it's nice. I don't know. It was nice to feel like the series was able to get to a really pretty decent power level really quickly because Chihiro had so much kind of infrastructure and backup to his plight.
Yes.
Like this is like one thing that will frustrate me sometimes with shonen like stories is like, okay, there's like a terrible villain running amok and rooting, and no one cares but one guy that we're following.
Exactly.
But no, like this is like a society that at least is like trying to function, and there's like intent to like help stop the overall crime syndicate of these yakuza and these sorcerers and these sword users. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the world building. And then they're all kind of cool. Everyone's kind of cool so far. We pretty much met a bunch of cool guys.
Yeah, and even like the more side characters, because we meet another character early on, Hinao, who basically acts as a sort of broker and like middleman that connects like people.
The job board
with,
poster
exactly.
of Monster Hunter or something. Yeah.
Basically, she's like the quest giver, where you can hire her to get in contact with the sorcerer for bodyguard work or assassination work or shit like that. And she's kind of a cool, interesting, like cute, fun character. As well. So we get introduced to a Kamunabi elite squad of sorcerers.
So the next now we can get to Sojo, the first boss encounter, I would say, of this series. Sojo, I mean, he's kind of like, I don't know if not the head of this kind of illegal market racketeering kind of
So basically Sojo is a weapons and arms dealer, has a shit ton of power in the underworld and the black market, gets his hands on Cloud Gouger.
He looks like L from Death Note.
Yeah, he's got a lot of like gross, greasy, long hair. He's got like tattoo, like just fully tatted up all over. He's got just a great, like these really like gone looking eyes. Great design. Yeah. He is amazing. He gets his hands on Cloud Gouger and has basically been studying it, as well as studying the source of the power of the enchanted blades, which is a piece of metal or material called Datenseki. Now, there's only it's established that there's only 250 gram. It's like a very
it was a weird specific number. I was like, oh, okay.
There's about like one. It's about like, I think it's like 250 like kilograms or something. It's like not a lot. It's not a lot that exists in the world, and of everyone that exists, only Chihiro's dad was actually able to take this extremely powerful material and actually beat it into a sword and turn it into enchanted blade. That's why since his death, there has been no enchanted blades since his death. And at least for as in this part of the story, there will be no other enchanted blades because he was the only one who had the power to make it. So Sojo is trying to kind of learn how we can do that. And he thinks Char's re-energizing cells or respawning cells might help in solving this issue.
He comes off as an otaku for Chihiro's dad. Like he's like a fanboy. He's like a devout cult-like fascination or adoration of Chihiro's father.
Yes.
And he doesn't even know Chihiro at first, the relation at all. So he thinks almost like he's continuing the legacy of this blacksmith. Versus his own son.
Exactly, which plays into a lot of the core sort of themes of the first arc, which is basically about like why use a katana? Like what is the purpose of a katana? It's established in chapter 1. Chihiro believes, he's carrying his father's legacy, which is to defeat evil and protect the weak. Where Sojo sees it more as a weapon of mass destruction to get what I get what I want and put my ideals, on the world. And what was the true, purpose of these extremely, extremely powerful weapons. We get, again, as I said earlier, first we get an initial scuffle sort of in the city streets. Chihiro kind of ends up drawing, but Chihiro, like we said, has sustained a shit ton of damage. He took a lightning bolt to the face, to the arm.
So there are a few moments where I go, okay, this fight introduced one of these. A fully charged lightning bolt that requires 10 seconds of recharge. And I was just like, okay.
That's some like JoJo shit right there. You're getting the meters, like 20 meters.
Like, okay, 10 seconds, got it. It's like you could literally see like why that number, I don't know. And that number changes almost immediately too. In the next fight. So like that was one moment I was like, that's a little too gamey for me for what he's. But anyway, it's a fun contest. And the thing that Chihiro does that's so laudatory is no civilians got hurt in this
Oh
fight.
yeah,
It's
he
so-
can't let it
yeah.
happen.
Not a single one. It's so amazing. It's like Man of Steel.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? Where it's like somehow no civilians die as the entire city's infrastructure is leveled to the ground.
It's
Like, you can't let anyone die though.
yeah, it's just a great little fucking scene. It's like, oh dude, it's just like, it's the first moment where like, dude, Chiro stands on fucking business. I love it. And then we sort of get to this sort of the back half of the second volume where we're introduced to, again, the Kamunabi elite squad, who basically kind of comes in, sort of saves his ass. Sojo flees, and they're like, we're going to find him and we're going to take him out. So basically, because again, enchanted blades are so extremely powerful, the government comes up with this is 6 explicit sorcerers with specific capabilities combined together that maybe we can explicitly counter this
with Chihiro's intel of the sword, which is like key and very fun. This meeting they had, developing strategy against Sojo, which is beautifully like interlaced into the fight to like set these things up. I really enjoyed that. It's like strategery.
And also too, like there's some funniness too, just like innately with the art in that scene where he's going over Cloud Gouger's 3 major abilities, which if you don't know are May, which is the primary major attack, which is the lightning bolt, the thunder lightning bolt.
Yeah, the one that seems to matter.
It's the most important ability. And then there's the other 2, which is Yui, which is ice, which is basically sets out a bunch of icicles, and then Ko, which basically sends out like a tidal wave or a bunch of water. And of course, you can combo them together to, make a huge freeze or send out water and then electrocute it. And we get to see a bunch of this in action. And of course, Chihiro is explaining this all to them. And while he's explaining all the abilities, everyone's taking a piss. So he's he's recovering in a wheelchair, and the 3 Kaminami members are in the bathroom, like up against the stalls while he's just explaining all this shit. So they really are just like, it's hardcore downtime. And he's just like, yeah, so this is how the abilities are. This is how it works. And it's very like nonchalant, instead of them all like, like Star Wars before they go fight the Death Star, like in the battle
there's this
arena.
lightheartedness.
Yeah, exactly.
That like intercuts with this like pretty, again, it's not berserk violent, but it's a gory series for sure. And Chihiro especially is like getting slashed, cut up, and amputated. He takes,
exactly. Yeah. He takes some pretty crazy hits. I mean, it's established after his fight with Sojo that he's just, by the way, Southpaw samurai, which is extremely sick. His left hand is basically totally destroyed after his fight with Sojo. After he does the lightning rod. And not to jump too far ahead, but he gets amputated in his second fight. Yeah, he loses his I believe it's his right hand. Yeah, entirely. He completely loses in the fight. So yeah, they take some fucking damage. It's pretty it's pretty violent. So basically that while all this is happening, Char ends up getting taken by his Sojo's lackeys. And also he gets passed out from taking a fucking lightning bolt to the face. Wakes up days later, is like distraught.
In the hospital.
Yeah, he wakes up in the hospital, is distraught. The Kaminami elite come in. We're introduced to them. Great little spread, by the way, of them all coming in. They got just a great little designs too. I love the guy. I forgot his name, but he's got the mask. He's great. They come up with a plan to defeat Sojo. And basically while the Kaminami are going to fight Sojo, Chihiro and his destroyed, very weakened state and Shiba are going to go to Sojo's base, retrieve Char and any information.
Infiltrate Metal Gear Solid style and leave with
exactly.
Char.
Try to get Char out of there, and then any other information about the Datinseki and what he's been working on and how he got the blade and all this shit. Because we also learn early on, we learned this from Azami in chapter 7, that the Shinuchi, which is the best of all the 6 blades, the craziest one he made, is being auctioned off in an underground black market auction called the Rakuza Ichi, which will be the next major arc. So Sojo was the one who initially put that sword up for auction, so we were trying to get some information about that as well. That's the purpose of the retrieval mission. So they go and split off and do this. Do you want to?
I just know you love a great prison escape,
yeah,
Sam.
You know I do.
And this one's pretty fun too. Now it's just one prisoner.
Exactly.
And it's not like a real prison.
It feels but it feels very. Metal Gear was funny. I like the comparison. Yeah, very Ground Zeroes. Metal Gear Ground Zeroes. Got to exfiltrate the prisoner, especially who's being tortured like horribly,
relentlessly.
Just so terrible. And of course, your hero gets in there. He gets overwhelmed pretty early on because he's just so like his primary sword arm is all fucked up. He's just is not in good shape. And he basically has to flee. He's got to like fucking tail between his legs, Batman, cut the lights, and fucking escape while they're all searching for him. And Tom, this is where you get like this is like my favorite probably fucking scene.
It's probably a panel of the arc.
Oh
right?
my god! So just such.
Do you have it?
I have it. Just such a beautiful. We get a great flashback where he's taught with his dad, and he's just kind of remarking to himself about how like despite Chihiro, who before the events of all this story wants to be just a swordsmith, he wants to be a swordsmith like his father, realizes that I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it like you, because like look at the shit, like you made this shit, and like, well, how am I going to be able to live up to that? And he's like, Chihiro, you're not going to be able to live up to that because you're not me, dude. But you should. It's
a great conversation.
You shouldn't try to be like me. And if you always follow in my footsteps, it'll be a waste that you were born as Chihiro Rokuhira. And he kind of goes over like some of Chihiro's great qualities, and it's just a great little like moment. Of course, then his dad gets back to being a fucking goofball, and we get this phenomenal page where he fucking his adult present day hand fucking wipes away the fucking tear, and it goes back to his child hand. And he remembers to keep a cool head and remain flexible, which is how we get Tom. This is what leads it. This beautiful scene, Tom, leads into our first shonen power up, dude. Because by unlocking and being flexible, he changes his understanding of how to use the enchanted blade. We were getting basic bitch flying sort of swings before this at full energy. Now he is using Kuro and splitting it, the blackfish, and splitting it into a school of small fishes to do small little attacks for the same amount of spirit energy. He starts cloaking his entire body in Nishiki to enhance his physical abilities and put less strain on his body. And we see how you can use the enchanted blades in a more flexible way, but B,
very flexible.
But B, how that flexibility plays into the growth in the innate understanding of reaching the true realm of the enchanted blades, which is powers even beyond what we're already fucking seeing. But that can only be understood through, again, a more innate understanding of using the blade, which you get through experience, as we see with Sojo when he goes up against the Cloud Gouger squad and is able to use the sword without physically holding it.
Yeah, okay. So the way that the flashbacks, especially with the father, ground the series, and they're done intermittently, little short scenes, is like the heart of this narrative so far for me. Like just one, and sometimes they're just for something silly, but sometimes they're that, right? You just showed really like kind of getting to the emotional core of that relationship.
Yeah, there's a specific image that the series loves to use and go back to of him and his dad sitting at a dinner table inside the fishbowl with Kuro, Aka, and Nishiki like swimming around. And that like single image it is the representation of Chihiro's childhood, like with his father in the golden age. And you are right, the series does constantly go back to that imagery over and over again. And it's fucking beautiful. It's such a wonderful, like, it is such a wonderful relationship that they have, and I love that scene so much. And he uses it to lock the fuck in, and then oh my god, because then we get this great fucking throwdown.
Show it to me.
Where we get this spread right here where we get the School of Kuro, and he uses shred and he fucking lights them all up. And then the next chapter, which was so special too, because the next chapter we get Char's flashback with her mom and how she initially escaped.
That was
and
tough.
That's very tragic.
That was a tough one.
And he's just, and this chapter is great because it's cutting back and forth between the flashback and Chihiro just whacking all these fucking guys and lighting them up. And we see like, there's this amazing there's like, oh my God, so many great scenes in this chapter. Cause there's the scene where, basically Char's mom is like killed by this really buff guy with this like Yamato helmet on, and then that guy's like killed off screen. We like turned a couple pages and he's decapitated already. He was nothing to fucking Chihiro. He's locked in. And then you get these fucking guys, these demon cloak guys who they set up as like actual fucking threats. And then you fucking turn the fucking page and he has a fucking decapitated. He fucking decapitates him in nothing. He just fucking clocks him. And then we get this just amazing dude, literally Metal Gear Solid Snake. What took you so long? And Tom, this was such a great chapter because dude, this chapter came out on Christmas Eve in 2024. What a beautiful, like, great chapter to read on Christmas Eve.
Now, I will say, I don't love the Deku Tears art look of what Char is doing.
Oh yeah,
where it's like buttercream frosting nonsense. It's don't pretty love intense. It's just a little too much. It's like cartoonish. If it was more like sincere, the picture of the tears, I think it would actually be more emotional.
It's pretty intense. It's pretty intense.
But she does a couple times. But if you can find this panel, another panel I really thought was powerful was when Char tries to heal Chihiro's arm after he escapes with her.
Yep, that's right after. I'll find that.
Because I thought that was a nice moment of Char, who's been mostly helpless.
Yeah, here's the actual here's the actual action.
Here's
the moment of impact, and then sort of the lead up to before that of her kind of mom sort of basically telling her how her ability works.
I cannot just re-heal myself, but if I really focus my energy on somebody else, it's like very loving and touching. She can heal somebody else. I assume there's limits to that, but it looks like he helped him at least.
Oh no! Basically, healed his actual primary dominant arm, which leads us to the Sojo fight or the 12-second melee, which is another like beautiful shonen ass scene where it's a fight, but it's also a mental battle for understanding.
Yes.
And whose side
ideologies have been pit against each other more than just swinging swords.
Yeah, it's
the perspectives, the worldviews are on display here, and obviously, actually, you know what was surprising? He broke the sword too, right? Like, he didn't just win the fight, but he broke the sword.
Yeah, Cloud Gouger is no more. It is completely split in two. It's done. And I think it's a great, like, the fight. Not only is the actual fight itself very exciting to read. There's great moments. Again, Chihiro loses a fucking arm in the fight. And we get to see sort of how they basically are sort of using the blades, and essentially he wins by essentially believing Sojo has achieved a certain level of understanding with the blade, and that's how he's kind of able to trick him and get him to use all the energy. So and also, Tom, the timing shit does matter. It's not like it didn't matter. It is nerd shit.
It's just arbitrary that it's 10 seconds.
It's arbitrary nerd shit. Also, by the way, I happen to find the fishbowl. The fishbowl image that we always.
I mean, it's introduced like chapter 1, I believe.
Yeah, chapter
the goldfish. Yeah,
chapter 1, and then we get great combat, and also we have this great like sort of this again internal like monologue dialogue, or excuse me, internal dialogue that these two have while they're having tea and eating dango. Shout out Monster Hunter Rise, and it's a basically, and they kind of do reach a mutual understanding where sort of Sojo appreciates where kind of Chihiro's perspective, being his idol son, and saying that does matter, and Chihiro also recognizes that hey, like
Why did my dad make these?
Yeah, you're right. Like the Enchanted Blades, like it did answer to you in your call, and it's not like you had nothing, but you're still you'll never, you're scum, and you'll never be on the level of my dad. So he fucking kills him. It's fucking awesome. Great, just explosive, amazing end to the first arc, and then kind of we get one more chapter as a little epilogue to that, chapter 18, where we kind of get a couple of major pieces of information, Tom, in chapter 18. Sojo fucking explodes and dies. So he's no more. Chihiro and Shiba have taken the broken Cloud Gouger, along with Char, of course. And the Kamunabi, the government, we kind of get their elite major, like 10
which
guys.
We lost a few of them.
So we lost a few of the elite sorcerers. So the group that we saw, the main round table, is like the 10 leaders of the Kamunabi. That was the people we lost was the elite group of sorcerers. Yeah. So of the 6, we lost 4. One of them lost both their legs. The leader of the group, he's the guy with glasses, and he's got the long, he's got the braided back. And then the blonde lost his left arm.
Some cool panels in that fight. Yeah.
Pretty sick panels. And there's some great dialogue with that blonde where he's talking with the zombie, where he's basically like, the Enchanted Blade should not exist. That shit was so fucked. What we saw up there was so fucked. And we also learn so we get introduced to an important character, and we also learn an important detail about the Enchanted Blades, Tom, which is the lifelong contract. So the way the Enchanted Blades work, because they're so fucking strong, his dad understood this shit was fucked. So he put in the blades a lifelong contract. So by having a lifelong contract with the blade, nobody else can use it. You can't unsheath it. You can't fucking wield it. You can't use the abilities of it. The only way that you lose the lifelong contract is death. And also, too, you lose access to your innate sorcery as well when you do a lifelong contract. So Chihiro does not have access to any innate sorcery because he's contracted to N10. So you lose your sorcery when you get a blade, or when you get attracted to a Enchanted Blade. And what we learn is that the original owner of Cloud Gouger was killed. And basically what they did was they immediately took the other 5 Enchanted Blade users. The Kaminabi immediately took them into government protection, and they're like in hiding. So nobody else can use the other 5 blades. The other 5 blades, they're out there. One of them, the best one, the Shinichi's up for auction, but they're not usable right now. So we're kind of in like a deadlock. The villains have the swords, but we have the users, and we're kind of stuck right now. And then we're introduced to Hiyuki, who we don't entirely know what it is, but it's an ability called Flame Bone, and it rivals the abilities of the Enchanted Blades in its capabilities. And she is tasked with going after Chihiro to retrieve the 7th blade, N10, and of course Cloud Gouger. And that's where Arc 1 ends on Chapter 18.
Yeah. So, final thoughts, Sam, on the arc. I'll give mine, and you can close
Please.
It out. So, I would be lying if I said I did that adjustment period I talk about didn't take place. I definitely was not like blowing through these first chapters. I can't put it down because I was like, oh, this is like in modern day, and it's a lot more low. Like the tone's a lot different. I can see it building. I wouldn't say I'm completely hooked by the world yet either. Mm-hmm. So, and then the rules of it are a little too flexible for me to wrap my head around, at least right now. So there's some hesitation I have with it. It's not typically, I don't always read shonen battle manga, but those scenes that give it that heart and ground it, every time one of those come up, I feel like the Grinch, the heart growing a size, and it's winning me over. I enjoyed reading this first arc. I want to read the next arc. But I wouldn't say I'm head over heels yet with it.
I'll, by the way, I'm with you in the sense that I'm not surprised. I don't think you necessarily should be head over heels. by now. I'm really excited for us to do the second arc, the Rakusa Ichi arc, which is about the first next 3 volumes. So it's 19 to 44. So it's about 1.5 times the length as the Sojo arc. We get introduced to a few more major players in Chihiro's camp, which makes the story a bit more interesting. The art starts to get even better. And I think too, a lot of the rules, which so far I agree with you early on, it's very kind of hit fast and loose. We kind of get a more innate understanding of it, and it's more solidified as the we continue to read. So I think a lot of that stuff you'll feel better on after the second arc, and I think I'll be surprised if especially with, you seem to have enjoyed the first arc quite a bit. It does seem like, so I think by the arc 2 you're going to be feeling pretty great.
Yeah, it's a fun read. It's still fun, but is it that next level where it goes from just being fun to being like, oh, like this is like, it's like what's the One Piece arc where they have to save Nami?
It's Arlong Park.
Arlong, like I'm One Piece and then Arlong Park happens.
Exactly.
And then it goes to like, oh, this is like a part of me now. Like,
oh
like,
yeah, no, and I'll say
what
this,
I mean?
and this is the thing too, and we talked about this when we first kind of introed Kagurabachi to everyone on the channel. But it's worth saying again, like, I think like these I think these first 18 chapters like blow like Chainsaw Man's first 18 chapters.
Oh, there's so much that happens. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I think it's like it's one of these things where it's like, the best Shonen series are typically not amazing. Like, they're not what we know them for right off the rip, except for maybe Death Note or something. Like,
yeah. Well, so we don't know exactly when we'll get to the second arc, but hopefully it won't be too long. It might not be next week, but
at
some point in the near future, we'll continue doing this until we're caught up, and then as they come out, once an arc completes, we'll keep
exactly. Yeah. So we'll the next 3 volumes for sure will be the second arc, and then the third arc it's questionable. We could technically still be in the third arc right now, but it's worth splitting. In my opinion, we can split it up so we don't talk we don't have a 5-hour video talking about 70 chapters worth of manga.
Okay.
But yeah, go read Kagurabachi and let us know what you think in the comments below.